Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul? But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
Jake Paul interrupted Davis versus Roach 2 conference just to get to SHOVES Gervonta Davis. The moment happened fast, but it was loud enough to stop everything around it. Cameras turned, security stepped in, people started shouting. Jake Paul had just pushed Gervonta Davis in the middle of a press event right before Davis was about to speak. It wasn't planned, it wasn't part of the show, but it happened, and now everyone was talking about it. Jake didn't say much after that.
Probably could get hurt. You know, this dude's 200 pounds at the end of the day, and it's not like he's a bum. No, he's not on Tank level, but a good big guy beats a great little guy. That's the phrase. This is a bad look. It's just, again, it's going to be hard for Tank to walk away from the big business that is this fight. It's a huge payday. I guess Tank fans definitely need to be worried. I know you guys think he's Superman. Jake Paul being 195 and then rehydrating. Tank fighting at 130.
He didn't fight, didn't swing, he just made sure Davis felt the push, then stood there waiting for the attention to shift. He made it clear afterward that it wasn't personal. He was sure Tank didn't take it that way in his mind. It was just about keeping the energy high, keeping the focus on their unfinished business. We
know that Gervonta's going to fight Jake Paul in November, and then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. Be interested to go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart.
For the past few months, Jake Paul has been trying to set up a fight with Gervonta Davis after his successful fight with Mike Tyson. More fighters have started taking Jake seriously, not because of his boxing skills alone, but because of the money his fights make. Jake knows how to get eyes on the ring. That's why even top boxers are willing to talk to him, even if they never used to give him a second thought. Right now, Jake is also set to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California on June 28, 2025.
My gosh, what news to wake up to in the morning. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Zurdo Ramirez versus Torticos live on the Zone pay-per-view. MVP Promotions, Golden Boy Promotions coming together. Let's go!
After that fight, his next goal is to get Davis in the ring, but talks haven't gone well so far. Jake was also close to fighting Canelo Alvarez. They had agreed on it before, but that deal was cancelled after Canelo signed a 4-fight deal with His Excellency Turki Alalshik.
After Canelo didn't materialize, was the next one Tank?
Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back. Then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. This is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line and things just fall through.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition. No restrictions, just the fact that we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
So Jake turned back to Davis. The idea was to have the fight in November, and it would only be an exhibition, not a professional match. But after Davis's shaky performance against Lamont Roach Jr., things got complicated. Tank was forced to accept a rematch with Roach, and that fight is now set for August 16th in Las Vegas.
Now, he's trying to please the fans possibly and take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know, is it even worth it to please the fans who are going to love you 1 minute, hate you the next? They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him next minute. Oh, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win, you know, or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't just please the people.
He has Jake watched the first Davis versus Roach fight closely. It ended in a majority decision draw, though many people think Davis should have lost, especially after going down to a knee in the 9th round. Jake wasn't surprised. He told Ariel Helwani in an interview that he never really thought Davis was that great to begin with. I never thought Tank was that good, to be honest. It would just take the right boxer to tear him apart. Jake said during the interview. He also added, someone very active and not afraid of his power.
Canelo obviously, didn't materialize. Was the next one Tank?
Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back, and then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. But man, this is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line, and things just fall through.
As you're watching it, like, he was a gigantic favorite, and this is...
Jake believes Davis has clear weaknesses in his boxing style, and that's why Roach was able to give him a tough night. According to Jake, if their fight ever gets made, it would be a 10-round exhibition with 3-minute rounds. They couldn't get it approved as a professional fight, so an exhibition was the only option. Even though that setup doesn't follow the usual rules of real boxing matches, Jake didn't seem to care to him. The point is to get in the ring with Davis and prove something, but not. Everyone supports the idea. Some fighters think it's a joke. One of them is Shakur Stevenson, who has been asking to fight Davis for a while. He's frustrated that Davis might choose to fight someone like Jake Paul instead of a real top-level boxer.
We're in discussions with a lot of names: Gervonta Davis, Anthony Joshua, Badu Jack, Ryan Garcia, KSI, Tommy Fury. So there's a lot of people on the hit list, but Badu Jack excites me a lot, and I definitely want to become world champion. So going after Zerto or Badu sounds like a good game plan to me.
If you had your pick of the litter, in scale of 1, 2, and 3.
First is Gervonta, second is Anthony Joshua.
Tank disrespects the sport if he chose to fight Jake Paul instead of me, Stevenson said in an interview with Fight Hub TV. I'm the best boxer in the sport, I told him, and he said it wasn't my fault. So if he said it wasn't my fault, and he wants to say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it. Shakur wants the respect that comes with beating big names in real matches. For him, the idea of Davis stepping in the ring with a YouTuber feels like a joke, something that doesn't belong in real boxing, but Jake sees it differently. He says the fight was almost ready to happen before Davis had to deal with Roach again. In a second appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Jake shared more details.
Didn't say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Proof bro that was on the wanted line as well, Jake said, but he has to rematch Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back, and then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. If Davis can beat Roach in August, Jake wants to return to the table and finish what they started. But even the idea of this fight has already caused a lot of debate online. Many fans are not excited about it. Some say it's unfair because Jake is way bigger than Davis. Jake usually fights at 195 to 200 pounds. Davis is a lightweight who normally fights around 135 pounds. Even if Davis moves up in weight, he'd still be fighting someone much heavier and taller.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I'd laugh at him. Like, you want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough for you to
would you ever do
take...
a fight like that?
I feel as though in my career I can't do that.